Hello, beach friends. Today we're going to take another early morning low tide beach walk over at Fort Myers Beach. We are going to see a lot of pretty beach instead of that fog we saw last week. We're going to talk about barnacles, we're going to talk about pen shells, and of course we're going to find a whole bunch of goodies. So if you are ready, let's go to the beach. So here we are on a beautiful morning, beautiful December morning. So it is winter here and it does tend to get a little bit chillier than the rest of the year. It is low tide, negative low tide actually, so we're going to have some fun there. And I wasn't kidding, it's 55 degrees out. So it's a little chilly to be creeping around at the beach, but I came totally prepared. Boots, scuba pants, winter hat, I am ready. Now we have a good sign here. That is a hinged prickly cockle. So I think we're going to find some goodies today. Upon first glance, it does look there's definitely stuff here. I, of course, like to be in the water. And I know it's 55, but like I said, I'm dressed for it. So that is not going to stop me. Looks like we found a very green and very alive Florida fighting conch, which I will be referring to for the rest of the video as just fighting conchs, just so I can level set. Still going to be a Florida fighting conch. I'm just going to drop the Florida part. It's a mouthful. All right, here we have a coquina. We're going to find a whole bunch of beautifully colored coquinas. And there's a piece of thin-fingered coral, which is relatively common down here. And that is a lightning whelk. Nice size, nice color, beautiful lightning whelk. Uh-oh. Come on, buddy. Here we have a short-spined sea star. I know, the tide's going to come in. He's going to be fine, but I just can't help myself. It's just sitting there. So we'll put him in the water and we'll keep moseying down the beach. Now, this is just a bunch of those live coquinas. So they're just little clams. They don't get very big. That's about as big as they get, but the colors are just gorgeous. They have light patterns. Sometimes they have stripes on them. We'll see a whole bunch more. Oh, look what we have here. Right here we have a ribbed cantharus complete with a little barnacle on it. Very cool. And an apple murex. It's a little bit worn down. They can come in a little bit better shape, but that, complete with a bunch of beach stuff, is an apple murex. Now, I've been on the hunt for an albino olive. I saw a picture of one last week and I just got it in my head. I really, really, really want an albino olive. So that's one of the things I'm going to be hunting for today. Beautiful. The sun will be coming up shortly. Not too many people out yet. So pretty much have the beach to myself. Come on, fella. All right, that is another short-spined sea star. Little stranded critter, so we'll do the same. Put them back in the water. And while we're here, let's take a peek. All right, we have a worn down, that is a lightning whelk. That is another one of those coquinas. That is a piece of an apple murex. So little breadcrumbs, little treasures that we're going to go through and see what else we can find. Oh, look, this was hiding, but not good enough. That is a horse conch, and it's just gorgeous. It's not, great size, fantastic color, no complaints. That is a Florida horse conch. Okay, here we have a juvenile fighting conch. Just kind of checking it out. It's a little bit chipped. Just really making sure that's nothing I need to take home. So I'll just leave that for somebody else. But this one, now that is also a juvenile fighting conch. And that's just lovely. Can't resist. I'm going to take that juvenile fighting conch. And a lettered olive, not albino, but very lovely. Nice and pointy, nice lettery marks. Oh, no shells jammed in there. Typically there are shells jammed in the opening or the aperture. Here we have an auger. And again, if you're shelling in the water kind of like this, make extra careful that there's no critters kind of stowed away in those shells. So not a lot of action in the water here. There's a little bit on the beach, so I'm kind of doing a little zigging, a little zagging. Definitely don't want to miss anything, but it happens. I mean, you just do the best you can, cover as much beach as you can, see what you find. All right, a Sunray Venus clam. Very clean. I need a couple of those in my collection, so I'm going to keep that. Oh, and here's a juvenile fighting conch. Love the cool patterns that these guys have. They're a little bit lumpy. They're different than the adults. Very interesting. And here is another lettered olive. Not albino, but it is on the light side and the shiny side and the pointy side, so I'll be keeping that. Oh, here is another. Oh, this is hinged now. So this is another Sunray Venus, and it is hinged. That's what we call it when both sides are still attached to each other. Call it hinged. That hinge doesn't, sometimes it'll dry out, so sometimes I can't keep them together. But anyway, this is a common nutmeg, a really nice one too. So I haven't really made it all that far down the beach. Taking my time, just kind of checking everything out. We're going to go see what's over at these pilings over here. This used to be a fishing pier way back when. We'll eventually make our way over there. A bunch of goodies. I see a little moon snail. And I'm going to be learning about moon snails and shark eyes because apparently there is a difference. So I'll bring you along with me on that journey, but I'm going to be taking a good look at the underside of these shells, trying to figure it all out. So here we are pretty much right smack dab in those pilings, and I happen to notice a cluster of critters. Yes, that's right. These weird looking things, these barnacles, are actually critters. They are related to crabs and lobsters. And there's many different types of barnacles, but we're going to talk about the ones I found. These right here are called fragile barnacles. Now, when barnacles are born, they float around in the water until they settle on something solid like a turtle or a boat, maybe one of these old dock pilings. And this is where it gets weird. Using special cement glands in their head, they cement their heads to their new home, and then they surround itself with a strong shell that provides protection from being eaten and also allows it to trap water in its shell during low tide. So at low tide, the critter will keep its shell closed real tightly in order to prevent it from drying out. Now, these particular barnacles live in the intertidal zone, which is the area between the high tide and the low tide levels, so they do need to be able to survive long periods outside of the water. Now, after they attach and build their little houses, these barnacles filter feed small plankton and other particles from the water using their modified legs. How crazy is that? So now you know a little bit about barnacles. They're not just things that stick onto shells. I mean, they are, but they are actually critters. So once I spent some time with those guys, I meandered down a little bit more and I'm looking in the water, looking on the beach. The water's nice and clear. And soon, I'd say in a couple of months, it's going to turn that like Caribbean blue color. Oh, it's going to be fun. But for now, we're just hunting at low tide, see what we can find. Okay, looks like we found another one of those common nutmegs. Pretty little shell. Oh, what do we have here? All right, it's a little worn down. And I'm going to wait a minute to see if you can kind of figure out what it is. So that is a lace murex. It's not quite as lacy. You can see on the bottom there on the left, it's a little bit lacy, but that was a lace murex. And this is a lightning whelk. A nice size, nice color. Relatively intact. That is definitely a keeper. Oh, yay! A turkey wing. Nice. All right, I know it's got a little beach stuff on it. I'm not worried about that, but that's actually a really, really nice turkey wing. Very cool. So it's still Nice and early. The sun's starting to come up. The tide's coming in, but still negative 0.35. So it's still negative low tide at this point. So even though the tide's coming in, we're going to be just fine. And that is yet another little nutmeg. Those are fun little shells, and they're nice and sturdy. I mean, they really got some oomph to them. Oh, look what we have here. So that is an operculum. So that is the covering, that trapdoor for shells here. Let's just take a look at something live I found in the past to show you. So that right there, that area, that right there is the operculum of that particular lightning whelk. So when the snail inside dies, we get their shells and sometimes they're operculums. So that is what that is. And here we have a pear whelk. Oh, that's what I call a bummer because it's beautiful. It's nice size, but it is a little chewed up. It's got tons of beach stuff on it, but I'm not really concerned about the beach stuff. So you know what? I'm going to try to rescue that shell. I'm going to take that home. All right, what else do we got here? All right, there is another little lightning whelk. Just kind of scanning. Definitely more treasures in the winter. Oh, here we go. We're going to talk about this for a sec. This is also another shell. It's called a pen shell. And pen shells, I don't typically spend a lot of time with them. I don't collect them. This one is a half-naked pen shell, but they are kind of interesting. They do create this material. It's called nacre. And that, you can break it. Like if you give enough pressure to it, those pieces will break off. But the pen shells live half buried in the sand with their flared end kind of pointing out, allowing them to filter feed. They get to about 11 inches. And in Japan, the pen shells are actually raised in aquaculture. And occasionally, these shells can produce a pin of pearl, which can be either orange or a silvery iridescent. So learned a little bit about the pen shell, and I know it's not very scientific, but I like to call them beach tacos. So there we have a pen shell, or you can go ahead and just call it a beach taco. Another fighting conch. Oh, that underside is gorgeous. Not worried about the green stuff. It's got some black on it, and I don't really know if it's going to clean up. So I'm going to leave that for somebody else and check out this one. All right, again, not worried about that green stuff. I don't see any of the black stuff. So that's a keeper, and heck, we got one right here. Let's peek at this one too. Ooh, that's also lovely and relatively intact. I'm going to keep those fighting conchs. A little rose petal talon. Very pretty. No, is it an albino? No, it's just a regular lettered olive. Kind of a cool triangle spot there, and some nice M's and W's and whatnot. So we have another lettered olive. All right, and this is also a fighting conch. Does it look weird to you? Maybe a little bit different than the ones we normally find? Well, it is. It's knobless. So that is one that has knobs. So in that yellow area, see the knobs there. So that is a fighting conch with the knobs. This guy, the one we just found, doesn't have those. So that is a knobless fighting conch. And because it is a little bit weird, a little bit different, I am definitely keeping it. Oh, and here's a little different one. You guys may or may not know this. That is a pointed Venus clam. They are tiny. They only get to be about 3/4 of an inch big, so that's it. And they're typically that color. That is typically the color I find those pointed Venus clams in. That is a bay scallop, a little bit chewed up on the edges there. Yeah, probably not going to keep it, but oh, we have a juvenile fighting conch. And it is gorgeous. So I am definitely going to keep that. All right, what else we got? All right, another one. That is another juvenile fighting conch. Some very lovely patterns. Oh, and this one I found unusual because it has almost like no pattern. It's monochromatic. It's like one color, which I thought was really different. So I kept that one too. No, it's not albino, but it is another lettered olive. This one does look on the light side. I do like those dark ones, but I'm on the hunt for an albino. Okay. I'm going to wait. That is an apple murex. That's nice. It's got some nice texture to it. Nice color too. So that is a nice looking apple murex. And now is time for beach time. And I didn't really like the way the beach looked with this lighting, so I customized it to make sure you get some lovely beach time. All right, we're on the hunt again. It looks like 2 more juvenile fighting conchs. Pretty. And another nutmeg, also known as a common nutmeg, but a nutmeg nonetheless. They're almost always that color. They're usually in the, brown, orange, rust color. Okay, here is another moon snail. Maybe or maybe not a shark eye. Again, I'm still kind of trying to figure it out. So that is definitely a moon snail, and I'm going to bring you along that learning journey with me. Ooh, a spiny jewel box. I love those guys, especially if they're a little spiky, a little spiny. So that is a spiny jewel box. Oh, I found something pretty good. All right, here we have a crowned conch. These guys are awesome. Sometimes they're purple or brown, so they get those stripes. And then, of course, they have their spikes. This one was kind of neat because the spikes were not pointing out. They were pointing almost exclusively upwards. That was kind of neat. Real pretty crowned conch. And, all right, so this is a tinted cantharus, not to be confused with the ribbed cantharus, and the two actually look nothing alike, just to make things that much more confusing for me. Not an albino, but it is a lettered olive. Good shape, nice point on it. What do we got here? Okay, we have a little itty bitty lace murex, a little bit of pink on top. That's a decent find. Another juvenile fighting conch. Oh, pretty. Oh, a rose petal talon. One of the only, no, there's a couple of pink things, not many. Actually, coquinas. So that is a coquina. That is something that comes in all different colors. But here we have rose petal talon and a juvenile fighting conch. And that is also a coquina. Someone had called them butterfly shells, and boy, do I get it. They do look like little butterflies. All right, here's a little common auger. Oh, cool. Another turkey wing. Awesome. All right, let's clean that up a little bit. Let's see what that really looks like. There we go. Nice. All right, it's got a little bit of green stuff. Again, not worried about that. Nice turkey wing. Okay, and this, I believe, is a Gulf oyster drill. There's also a mauve-mouthed drill, and of course the ribbed cantharus that to me look almost identical. However, that one, I'm going to go with a Gulf oyster drill. And a little hinged calico clam. So I do know that that is empty. It took me a second to kind of figure that out, but it is empty. I can bring that home. So that is a hinged calico clam. Oh, pretty. Of course, there's a critter in it. So that little black thing, that's a little eyeball. It's a little eye stalk of the snail still inhabiting the shell. So we cannot keep that. That needs to go back into the water. And so this would be a problem if it were high tide. I don't know that this would be passable, but we're not here at high tide. We're here at low tide. So we have complete access, especially with my boots. I mean, I came prepared, so I'm ready for whatever the beach throws at me. Like this, Lovely crown conch. Now, I know it's broken and doesn't really have spikes in it, but that color was such a deep, rich brown color. I decided to hold on to that. Here is another fighting conch. All right, let's see. Is this a keeper? Beautiful, like honey color with some patterns on there. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to resist. So I really take time and consider. I try to be very thoughtful about what I keep. And I don't think I'm going to be able to leave that at the beach. So that's coming home. Still lovely. All right, tide's coming in. It's still, all right, it's above negative at this point. So it's 0.13, a little bit above negative, but it's still very low. So we got plenty of time to wander around the shallow water and find things like this fighting conch. Gorgeous. Really love the zigzag patterns, and they're so very different than the juveniles. Very interesting. All right, this is like a muddy part of the beach in that water, and that's not an albino either. So that is another very light. Strange that they're all light today. There's a very light lettered olive. And what? Oh, another crown conch. It was kind of stuck in that mud. Let's rinse it off a little bit more. All right, so it's empty. It's pretty beat up, but I'm going to give it the old, let's see what happens when we clean it up. So I'm going to bring that home. And this is another fighting conch. A little bit of orange on the inside. Sometimes they could be purple. We're mostly finding the brown ones today, but they do come in a really large variety of colors. I love those fighting conchs. Okay, here's another rose petal talon and a spiny jewel box, complete with little spikes on there. And another rose petal talon. Okay, while we're here, we might as well grab it. What else we got? All right, a little jingle. Cool. Oh, not done yet. That is a spotted slipper snail. It's a little older, not perfect. What? Okay, and here we have, that is a little pear whelk and a bubble. And there was also coquinas in there. So really, if you take a second and bend down, there's just a bunch of little goodies all over the place. Okay, there is another moon snail. Now that bottom looks a lot different than the other one that we had picked up. So again, I'm still kind of in the process of figuring it all out, but that is a moon snail, a little beat up. Take a real good look at that underside. That's going to unravel the mystery. So I promise to tell you once I have it all figured out. Oh, yay! So that is a banded tulip. That's in pretty good shape. See a drill hole in there. It's not too uncommon. Things like the moon snails, they do drill into other shells. Cool. All right, that is a Florida cone with fantastic color. Really, really cool. It's a little chip. That's okay. Great cone. Definitely going to keep that. Okay, and on the right, we have another little lettered olive that is not albino. And then on the left, we have an auger. All right, here's another moon snail. And if you guys didn't catch the moon snail from last week, I'm going to put a little button there up in the right corner. You can see one of these live, and it was fascinating. Really, really cool. And no way. All right, that is actually a true tulip. So those are much more rare than the banded tulips, and they get much bigger. So that's a cool find. All right, and here we have another moon snail. That is a colorful moon snail, also known as a gaudy nautica. They are gorgeous when they have that strong coloring on it. Really cool. That's still a cool shell. I'm definitely going to hold on to that. That beautiful gaudy nautica. And then here we have another one of those drill shells. And look, there's a barnacle. That is an acorn barnacle. And I know they kind of cement themselves on there, but it is easy enough once the critter has perished to really just kind of pick that barnacle off. Nope, not albino. Nope, that is another very light lettered olive. So I'm doing good. Hey, maybe I should look for Genonia. See if that'll pop up for me. Another cone. Okay, so that's another Florida cone. Cool, a little chipped up, but only on that side. So when you hold it like that, oh yeah, it's perfect. Gonna hold on to that. So we've made it pretty far down. There's a little bit more. You can kind of swing around the corner. That was Lover's Key out there. And it is just a gorgeous December, almost cloudless morning. It is 65 degrees, so it's warmed up nicely. Much better than 55. So now we're going to mosey back. Let's see what else we can find. It's going to get pushed up as the tide is coming in. Wow, that's gorgeous. I can see right through the green. I don't even see it. I know underneath is going to be a beautiful dark fighting conch, so I'm going to hold on to that. And here we have one of our resident shorebirds. Trying to figure out exactly what kind. I'm not as good with the birds, but my best guess is a juvenile tricolored heron. Beautiful little critter, getting himself some breakfast. Good luck, buddy. All right, another sunray Venus. Very cool. Another cone. All right. All right, it's not in as good a shape as the previous ones we found, but it's still okay. I'm going to go with passable, so I'm going to keep that. All right, you can kind of see that the tide's coming in, pushing more stuff. Almost lost this little top snail. So that is a top snail. Nobody's home. So that is okay to keep. Cool little shell. We're getting a nice variety today. It's nice that we're seeing a whole bunch of different things. And I'm walking along the beach and I really do feel like I'm exploring. It's just wild. There's not too many people around. And it's just such a wonderful experience coming down here to the beach. Now, someone recently asked me if I was a teacher. No, I do not have any formal teaching in my background, but I think that the beach is just such a wonderful classroom, and there's just so much to learn here, whether it's about the tides or the critters or the shells. So thank you guys for coming along with me. I hope you enjoy your time with me, and I hope you learn a little something as we go on our weekly beach walks. Oh, this is interesting. Now, I do not collect these, but my husband does. So I figured while I'm here, I'm going to grab this for him. This is technically, it's called a molted exoskeleton, but it's really the horseshoe crab got bigger, so it needed to crawl out of its old shell. And so that is what is left behind. So that's just an exoskeleton of a horseshoe crab. I'm going to gift that to my husband. And here we have a juvenile fighting conch. Oh, dang it. It's a little chipped on the side, but I don't care. It kind of has nice spikes on it, so I'm going to hold on to that. And this was just screaming at me. Like I was walking by and I just saw these flashes of purple on the beach. And so I figured it was trying to tell me something. So I better get down and take a peek. And they were just beautiful. These little purple coquina clams. Now, these coquinas are really important. Lots of things eat these coquinas. Luckily, they are abundant. So those are some real pretty coquinas. And little shorebirds, those are always around. And if you have kids or dogs and you come down here, try not to have them chase the birds. The birds do migrate. They need their rest. And so it's not really nice to do that. So kind of try to leave the birds do their thing. And then I got distracted by this gorgeous fighting conch. Nice layer of slime on there. But again, 100% bleach will take that right off. Look at that. So we picked up those purple ones. Look at this beautiful red one. So that is also a coquina. Oh, okay. Another little nutmeg. Very cool, hardy little shell. And then again, color just kind of flashing out. This is a bright yellow. Gorgeous. Another one of those coquinas. And then I saw more color kind of popping out. And so this bright orange belongs to a horse conch. So that is a little Florida horse conch. Very cool. All right, so it's kind of funny. Right now I'm wearing my wool hat, my scuba pants, scuba boots. There's people walking around the beach in bathing suits. So I'm definitely not dressed for the weather, but it's okay. It's time for me to leave. And you can kind of see that the tide has really came in. Since we got on the beach, we kind of just walked a whole bunch. And the tide is coming in. So let's review all the fun things we got to see today. So we did get a bunch of those Florida fighting conchs, a couple of those tulips. We have some spiny jewel boxes, some augers, some moon snails, some common nutmegs, we have some murex, a whole bunch of light colored olives, a whole bunch of real pretty colored coquinas. We have the rose petal talons. What else? Okay, the sunray Venus clams, the crown conchs, and then the parwalk, a couple of cones, and the operculum, and the Florida horse conch, and the horseshoe crab. So it was a fantastic variety. Really fun to see all that different stuff out there. Plus, we learned about the barnacles, a little bit about the pen shells. I want to give a special thank you to my Patreons who monetarily support me in doing what I do. So thank you so very much. And to everybody else, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for leaving your comments. Thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all of it. Next week, we're kayaking down to the 10,000 Islands. So I'm just going to say it's going to be awesome. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday.